From the Spec Network, this is Fragmented, an Android developer podcast where we talk about building good software and becoming better Android developers. I'm Don Felker.
And I'm Kaushik Gopal.
Welcome to the show. Hey Kaushik, how you doing, man?
Pretty good. You want to talk about something, Don? Let's do it.
I did definitely want to talk to you about something. You and I have discussed over a period of time now about what the future of Fragmented looks like. We're over 180 episodes in. Mm-hmm. We started the Fragmented podcast as a podcast for Android developers because, well, to be honest, there was nothing around at the time, and you and I wanted to put something out there for people.
Yeah, that's right.
As time goes on, priorities, not really priorities, but just the technology and our focus changes quite a bit. And comes with that, it also comes with the future of Fragmented and what Fragmented has to hold. So I wanted to talk to you about Fragmented and kind of bring the listeners up and current on what we're planning here for the future.
Yeah, that makes sense. We've done 185 episodes. I just looked at our back catalog. Yeah. And it's always been like very technical. It's always been around Android, specifically around Android. A lot of the APIs, the languages. Now and then we did throw in some of like the other episodes. We have had like decompressed sessions. We have had sessions about just becoming like, our tagline has always been, just becoming better Android developers and just better engineers, software engineers in general, right? So I think we're at a point where we're like reconsidering that and like seeing how that plays out, and also an intersection of what we find interesting now, right? Because a large part of that is also very important. Like we do Fragmented because we just love chatting on the show, right? Like we love having guests. We love like chatting with each other, exchanging ideas. And that has always been like the thing. And for folks who've been listening, they know this thing that Don and I have. Like we have like this pact where we check in every few episodes. Yeah, every few, for now 50 to 100 episodes, where like, hey, in the early days it was 10 episodes because Don was too scared of like, committing with me because he's like, I don't know who this crazy dude is. This crazy person who I just happened to meet randomly who says he knows a few things about like audio engineering, just wants to start a podcast. I don't know if I want to waste my time with this person, but they've kept it going for some time now. But yeah, I do think it's getting to a point where we want to like maybe alter the focus a little.
Yeah,
right?
We do. And, I wanted to talk again about the thing you said about the check-in. And one of the things that and if you're starting a podcast, I recommend you do this if you have a co-host, is that check-in that we have basically says, hey, we've kind of asked ourselves a couple of questions. They've been the same since the beginning. Are you enjoying this? And we both say yes or no. Okay. Do you want to keep doing this? Yes or no? And do you think we should change anything? And we have a discussion around that. And for the most part, for the first, 150 episodes, it's been like, yes, we enjoy doing it. Yes, we want to continue doing it. Do we want to change anything? No, not really. Then in the last 25, 30 episodes, we've kind of been like, well, there's other things I want to talk about that's not Android related, but it's very software related. But it wouldn't fit into the program. And we started experimenting with those different topics. And like you said before, it could have been a general soft topic. I might even talk about speaking, writing as a developer and blogging, or going out and doing public speaking, or just some other type of soft topic and learning things just in time. And we both also have a background in other software development. You might do stuff in Swift, or you even came from Rails. I've done a ton of Rails. We both experiment in various other different languages and continue to discuss things in our languages. So we felt it only to be best we kind of came to a crossroads here at Fragmented. And the crossroads was this. It's like, okay, we want to talk about other things. We either just stop Fragmented completely and leave it where it is and say, hey, that was a good 180 episodes. And by the way, we're going to start a new podcast where we're going to talk about software development, and it's called XYZ. Or option B, we just continue on with the name Fragmented and start introducing those topics into a new format of the show where we will still talk about Android here and there, but we might one episode talk about, a remote culture working with, pull requests and pull request reviews and stuff like that. And what this does, it basically would allow us to open up the show to more avenues and more listeners. And also, really what this means is it allows us to talk about more things that we're really interested in that relate to software development in general. And I think that's where a lot of the happiness comes from for me. What about you, Kaushik? How do you feel about that?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's very similar. The funny thing that most folks don't realize is, while we've been Android developers primarily, we come from backgrounds of like very different like software, like from different languages, right?
Yeah.
And I think like that just plays in. It's like hard to divorce yourself completely out of that, And we've been doing Android programming, and so it's like been relatively easy in the past. But there's also like the interest levels, right? You're right. I do like talking about software engineering in general, right? I do like talking about different things. I mean, even like going back to like stuff like Unix programming, Don knows. I keep bugging him like after every show. I was like, hey, check this out. I'll keep him like on for another 25 minutes, just like ranting about like
great stuff.
Yeah. And a lot of that is interesting. And we're like, oh, well, it doesn't fit into Android programming. So we'll always have that as a pre-show and like post-show. And we're like, some of this is really interesting. And we've also gotten feedback from other folks too, where, they're like, hey, we like those sessions where you guys just like rant about different things. Because a lot of, I'm sure, listeners, while they're Android developers primarily, they also like listening to a lot of this stuff, right? They like seeing what's out there. They like seeing how different people approach different problems and how you deal with life as programmers, right? The remote one you mentioned is a very common one we keep getting, right? Like, are you a remote developer? And it's interesting because we have different experiences, right? You are 100% remote. I'm not remote. I actually go into like in a physical office, I go into Instacart and I work there. So there's obviously a difference in like experience, and there's a wealth of stuff that we can learn from each other there, right? And we want to bring a lot of that and share that with our listeners.
Yeah, and I don't think that people that are listening might be like, oh, like, Fragmented is done. No, Fragmented is not done. We're just, think of this as kind of making the family a lot bigger. We're going to be inviting in a lot more content in here that's going to be focused with, software development in general. And if you follow me on any social channels, you'll see that I'm always experimenting with other different types of technology. I'm currently working with like a bunch of stuff in Elixir, and I'm doing JavaScript stuff. And a lot of these things will I can bring some of these concepts into Android, and I do because I learn these things. And so we'll continue to talk about that and how things will be impacted in Android. And we still are both day-to-day Android developers. And so we will both include things in here. So we might bring in someone to talk about a new feature in Android. That's, totally possible. We'll still have, interview people from Google and so forth. But at the same token, we might have a show completely dedicated to why we decided to move to Fish Shell versus ZHS, completely different.
And I'm waiting for that show.
And, productivity, one of our most popular shows was talking about developer productivity tools and things that we use to be productive, which was not even really Android focused. So a lot of the things are going to be, new and help you grow as a developer. What does that mean for Fragmented? You can keep your subscription, right here. You don't have to change anything. You're still going to get the same shows that are going to show up inside of your podcast player, if, whatever one that is. We will keep the same name. It's still going to be called Fragmented. That's the great thing about this name is we feel that as developers, we're kind of fragmented all over the place. Sometimes we're in Android. Sometimes we're in Rails. Sometimes I'm in the shell. Sometimes I'm doing HTML. Sometimes I'm in a database. Our entire lives as developers is fragmented all over. So the name kind of just works. So we're not going to change the name.
It's a good name. I like the name too. Yeah.
We'll probably change the tagline to something a little more appropriate. We haven't solidified that yet. And then of course the artwork is going to change. So throughout time, you'll see some small changes in basically the artwork, and some of the content will be more generalized to software development. Did I miss anything, Kaushik?
No, I think you covered it pretty well. The only thing I'd say is, and we're always, again, open to feedback and comments, right? We want to try this because this is something that we really think is going to be cool. It's going to like renew our interest. It's going to like kickstart. We're really excited about these changes. So let us know what you think. And like after we have like a couple of like the shows that go in, give us your honest feedback. We still like read every single note that comes to us. We still like see all the tweets that like folks send. So let us know what you think. Give it a few shows because we're finding our way too, right? Like this is like definitely a slightly different direction for us as well. So we're definitely excited, and we'd love to hear what folks like think about this.
And definitely, if you enjoy it, you enjoy these shows and where it's going, please share the show with other individuals. Maybe share it with your iOS friends or your web team or anything like that. We're just looking to grow and have fun. And if you have any ideas for, hey, I'd love to hear about a show about, KTOR, the Kotlin server-side API stuff. Like, yeah, totally. Let's talk about that. I'm interested in it. Let's learn about it. So again, thanks for listening. Thanks for joining us on this journey. Thanks for continuing to join us on the journey. And we look forward to hearing from you soon.
Absolutely. Thank you all so much for listening. And thanks for listening to this special announcement. And yeah, stay tuned for all these changes.
Definitely. Thank you again.
That's it for the show, folks. Fragmented is hosted by Don Felker and me, Kaushik Gopal. We edit and produce all the episodes here on Fragmented. Sarah the Amazing Jackson from the Spec Network helps with production assistance and wraps our final mix. Our theme and ad music is by the national recording artist Blueprint from Weightless Recordings. You can find more Fragmented episodes at fragmentedpodcast.com. Thanks for listening, and we will catch you in the next episode.